Honestly, what do you do as an Arsenal fan that have a blooded nose and blooded eye against City in the course of the week? It's pretty amazing how City can come back and do their thing, and it's pretty amazing how Arsenal could be potentially called the best butler of the league in the history. Last time we saw this was in 2007-2008 season, and of course, it was done by the same Arsenal. That particular season, they ended up, I think, in the third position behind Manchester United and Chelsea. We saw a repeat of that following their loss at the Etihad. 4-1 it ended in favor of Manchester City, and City looks prime to be the winner. Of course, my name is Raja Adebola, and this is still the best sporting show in the whole of the universe. And of course, we'll be discussing series of issues in the EPL and of course across the footballing world. But we're going to start with the Premier League right now, and of course, I'll start with the match between Manchester City and Arsenal. And the focus is going to be pretty much on Arsenal. And questions are being asked that where did Arsenal lose the league? Mathematically, the league is not lost, but we know who they are up against. This is Man City of Pep Guardiola. The league is lost in its totality. But of course, mathematically, they still have a chance of winning the league. Olali, where do you think the league was lost for Arsenal? Just briefly, in five basic places. Or let's say like this. Tell me 3 basic places where you think the league was lost for Arsenal, and Sheyi will tell me the other 2.
3 games. I have 3 games in mind.
No, 3. Yeah, not games. Where the league was lost. Where you
yes,
think
I will link
Arsenal?
it to those. I will link it to those 3 games.
Okay, great.
I think Arsenal didn't take advantage of City's sloppy post-World Cup and January to February form enough. City dropped a lot of couple of points, but I think Arsenal too dropped some points along that side. The Everton game, most especially, I think the game against City at Emirates, Arsenal should have won. They were sloppy. They were 1 goal ahead. What do you call it? Ramsdale dashed them that equalizer. if they have probably gone into halftime 1-0,
yeah,
we probably don't know what could have happened. That's number 2 was I think the Saliba injury really affected them towards this later stretch. I think as much as people want to make it a Odin problem, I don't think it's a Odin problem. I think it's a combination of playing Odin and Gabriel that has made us a little bit vulnerable and playing at the back, playing out of the back. Because what most people don't realize is even Gabriel is not that comfortable on the ball. I even think Odin is a little bit more comfortable on the ball than him. So I think Saliba's injury probably came at the wrong time. Probably it was around he could have, what do you call it? Probably
have shielded us now, kept down the
number 3 that I will say that I will go back to is I think a little bit of indiscipline all around, because looking at that Southampton game, that first goal shouldn't have happened. Playing from the back is good, but you should know when to go long. As much as ever sitting from the back, there are times when you press them and they know when to go long, and that is where your goalkeeper is ability to pick up a very good long pass goes a long way.
It's very, very.
Because I just think, for me, the Liverpool game, as much as Granit Xhaka, let me say, was a little bit responsible for how the Liverpool fans reacted and started supporting the fans, which you don't want that. As much as he did that, I just felt that Arsenal really lost a major ground in the West Ham and what do you call it?
The Southampton match.
And the Southampton game. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Shay, Help Olale out with the other two. Olale has listed three already. The general discipline, the loss of Saliba, and Arsenal not taking the chance that Manchester City presented to them after the World Cup.
Okay. I think I would just like to tie up some of the things that Olawale already mentioned, and just tie it up, into a general term. I think the Saliba issue is basically an issue of lack of depth, and that is part of what plagued Arsenal all through the season. Because if you see a team like Arsenal sitting on top of the league and at the opportunity, even though it's not an opportunity, but as we see it as fans, it's an opportunity. They dropped early in Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and they did not progress to the quarterfinals of the Europa. Even with that type of team, for me, I thought they were just going to drag Man City to the end of the league, but that didn't happen. So that's the first thing for me. I think lack of depth affected them. They lost Saliba, and the whole defense was in array. They kept on conceding. If you look at the 3 games they drew in succession, they conceded a minimum of 2 goals in all the matches. That showed how really and as at that, if you look at the percentage of shots that Ramsey saved in those matches, you really know that the defense is actually poor. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is also lack of character. I think these guys are just not there yet. I think what we've seen over the season is a little bit of infusion of players with character, but that is just not enough. I'm talking about Zinchenko, Jesus, and the Chelsea midfielder, Jorginho, that came in. And Trossard. Thank you for adding Trossard. Even though Trossard actually played for Brighton, for me, Brighton is still like a mid-table team. So I think those 3 added the still some character, some mentality into the team, but that is just not enough to push them to the end of the season. Then I think the third thing also will probably be the naivety of the coach. I think there are some games also that Arteta lost by making some silly, so-called silly, substitutions. They kept on chasing the game. So for me, I think those are the 3 things I'll just add to the perfect. What I said.
I just wanted to add something to what you guys said. Do you know that Arsenal has conceded more goals in the Premier League this season than Chelsea? that's just for you to look up.
Are you serious?
So it goes a long.
Chelsea's problem is goal scoring.
Goal scoring. So Arsenal has considered more goals in the Premier League this season than Chelsea. I will be talking about Chelsea. Anyways, talking about scoring of so many goals, we had 2 games over the weekend that ended 4-3. Liverpool versus Spurs, and we had Crystal Palace versus West Ham. This scoreline does not do justice to the action that we saw, especially the game between Spurs and Liverpool. Liverpool started on gear 4. Spurs could not even start their vehicle at that point. They raced to a 3-0 lead against the woeful Spurs. And Spurs, for some strange reason, came back into character like they did against Manchester United. Scored 1 goal, hit the bar like a couple of times. I believe Son hit the bar like 3 times in the game, and they looked like they were going to come back. Second half came back. They scored 2 goals towards the end, and it looks like it was going to be a draw. And the £60 million guy eventually scored a goal after how many years? But he did score eventually for them. And we thought, okay, this is the day for Spurs to show that they have a little bit of character. And this is one of the allegations that Antonio Conte laid at the legs, or should I say the feet of the Spurs players, that they lack character. It does not look like they want to play football. And to come think of it, we are seeing so much cracks in sports right now. And truth be told, they've had Antonio Conte, they have Jose Mourinho, they've had Pochettino. And those three guys are, let's forget about Pochettino, he's not a winner. But Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte are serial winners. They've won everywhere they've been to, everywhere except sports. And that just goes to show you that there's a mentality issue in the sports team. Anyways, back to the gist. Lucas Moura gave that gift to Diogo Jota. Diogo Jota, one of the best finishers in the Premier League. That was a very hard chance to finish. He looked up once to check where FF was. He saw where he was, and he placed that ball excellently well into the corner to make it 4-3. Character-wise, I think Spurs did show that they could fight today. And I feel, honestly, that Messi should be given a job. For me, it's not going to get worse. And I don't know what code they want to get. They need someone that is from within that poor surrounding to help them. Alali. Go ahead, Alali. I can hear you.
Unfortunately, I think I get a bit frustrated when probably the performance of the Spurs boys of late are used to justify some of these Antonio Conte's outbursts, because Antonio Conte himself was a disaster. I think we are letting him off the hook so easily with the way we want to make everything look like he said this, he said that. He couldn't coach that team. That was the fact. He couldn't coach
Olali, you are not on the training ground with those guys every day. Conte was.
Debo.
Go
Antonio
ahead.
Conte cannot coach. Antonio Conte did not coach that team. That team doesn't look like a team that had a coach that was aiming that high. He set up that team to fail the way they were doing the season. Whatever you see that mirrored the team to the end of the season was almost the same that happens during Antonio Conte's era. They will start the game so poorly. There's no intensity in their game. They don't press their opponents. They don't close the gap. Until when they find themselves probably 2 goals down, and that's when you them seeing a little bit of life. This is just a replica of what has happened to them throughout the season. There is nothing new that has changed, and for me, it boils down to pure coaching right from the onset. They have Antonio Conte was probably ill bent on just a 3-4-3, and nothing changes. For me, it's just Spurs ideally should not even be in contention for top 4, if not for the fact that other things that happen. If Liverpool has probably not been what they are this season, Chelsea, Spurs have been so poor that they should not even be in the top 4 contention. That's for me. I think the club where the
so do you think Real Messi should stay on beyond the season?
No. I think Real Messi should go to the lower division where they are Michael Carrick, the former Man U assistant manager McKenna, where they are. You see, just like Frank Lampard, I made mention of it even doing Steven Gerrard. I don't know whether you remember when Gerrard was giving that Aston Villa job. I said Gerrard should have stayed one more season, or should have finished this current season. That season that Rangers got to the final of the Europa League. As a manager, one thing you need first is you need to even know who you are as a manager. That's the problem with most of these guys. They don't even know who they are. And the big teams are not where you come and experiment with who you are as a manager. If you sort that one out, your identity as a manager, you can sort it out in the smaller clubs. So Real Messi need to go. What do you call it? Need to go to. I think what Spurs need is they need an European-oriented coach who could work with young talents.
Okay.
That is what they need.
Then Liverpool will not allow them to succeed.
This is when they need probably a Mauricio Pochettino back. See, Daniel Levy need to accept the fact that I think the problem with some certain clubs is trying to think. I think thinking they are more than who they have at present. Number one, you can't, in terms of attracting talent, there are some talent that's difficult for Tottenham to even when they have the money and to get. Now, considering that Tottenham doesn't even pay that well. So you need a coach who could work with young talent and develop. And if you finish fourth or fifth this year or sixth, just accept it and build gradually. You are not gradually.
All right, perfect. Olale is saying Pochettino should come back. Messi should go back to the lower division where he belongs, because right now we don't even understand what his identity is. I feel, on the contrary, Spurs itself does not have an identity. So even getting someone anywhere from the world is just going to be difficult. That person is just going to come back in this. In reference to what Sheyi said, Olatunji responded to what you said, Sheyi. He said, we really should not be talking about debt in 2023. That has been the problem for years. You cannot win major titles without debt, except you are Jose Mourinho with his regular 15 dependable players. Olale, I'll give you 10 seconds to finish up with that thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was saying is this. I think doing Mauricio for whatever things anything we had against Mauricio Pochettino, one thing you can't accuse him of is that his team doesn't have an identity. Throughout his days at Spurs has a way of playing, and everybody knows that. Unfortunately, that era was not well managed. The season they got to the final of the Champions League, this guy was not giving a single signing. I think we need to forget these things. I work under a and the following season, unfortunately, the money was not well spent.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to come to you now, Sheyi, and it's basically about Liverpool. And that dribble by Perisic finishing the career of VVD all over again. His career is finished already. People don't want to accept that his career is finished already. But officially, it's signed now that the career is done and dusted. And of course, I'll say Liverpool were lucky. We're playing at Anfield to win this match. They were not supposed to win this match, truth be told. They were as disastrous as Arsenal was against Liverpool and against West Ham. But they were lucky that they scored 3 goals. That was the difference. Do you think there should be a little bit of shake-up for Liverpool? They've taken themselves out of the race for Jude Bellingham. Officially, they are out out of the race for Jude Bellingham right now. But they need bodies in the middle. They need to send some guys away from the team. What do you think should be the strategy, or what they should be thinking about right now against next season? Or do you think, I don't think they're going to make the top 4 anyways. Statistics have come out to say they have 18% of making the top 4. I don't think they will. But what, for me, it's going to be a plan for the summer. What do you think the plan should be for the summer?
Yeah, I think Liverpool season, it's not so good, but I pretty also think it was due to injuries within the team. Also, we know that it's injury that has made VVD turn into what he is today.
Yes, yeah.
But I will be on the side for that particular dribble. I think he's slipped. So let us just let him.
Allah, can you hear your brother? I said he slipped.
He slipped. So let's just let's get him off the book for that.
For that, okay.
Meanwhile, Liverpool also they have Luis Diaz back in the team, and you can see that the attacking line is back to what it should be for Liverpool now. I think Nunez will probably be the last attacker on the list of Liverpool's attack when it comes to next season. Now, talking about the midfield, they need to do whatever they can do to get proper midfielders, proper bodies into that.
She don't mess one. FSG needs to bring out money. They need to bring out money.
The likes of Elliott and Jones, they are supposed to be backup players. They are supposed to be backup players. They're not supposed to be starters. When you're talking about Liverpool, you're talking of top 2 or top 3 team in the EPL, and probably the top 5 when it comes to winning the Champions League. So I don't think the likes of Elliott and Jones should be starters in that team. So that is what they need to focus on next season. And also, I think Klopp needs to also find a solution to his overlapping wing backs. I noticed in this Liverpool Tottenham game that he has started this inverted wing back pattern. Also, I saw quite a lot of trends in the middle of the pack, trying to spread the passes and hold play. However, the sickness of that defense is still there, and that is why VVD is open to that dribble. Whenever Trent overlaps, there is always a problem. And
you should know his work. He should know his work. Saliba does it comfortably at us now. Saliba is just 20 years old.
And their island is still there. And I think Klopp needs to look at something as regards that defense, because that's another problem they've really suffered this season. They conceded quite a lot of.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that. Of course, Crystal Palace won against West Ham 4-3. Don't be fooled by that scoreline. Crystal Palace are supposed to defeat them more than that. West Ham keep with their upgrade of I don't want to say anti-football, but their English football drop and play, kick and follow. Yeah, that's the right word, the kick and follow of England. And of course, Brighton and Hove is scaring everybody right now. So if you're Arsenal and you see how Brighton and Hove on your list of teams to play, you should be scared. They defeated Wolverhampton Wanderers 6-0 after resting Mitoma rested. What did they say? Ferguson is out injured. McAllister did not even play. Salcido was on the bench, and they managed to defeat Wolves 6-0. You should be scared if you're Arsenal right now. United defeated Villa 1-0, while Fulham could not help Arsenal do what Arsenal could not do. They were defeated thanks to Erling Haaland scoring 58 goals for Manchester City this season already against Fulham City. And Napoli unofficially have won the league unless Lazio can score 20. They can add 20 plus 20 goals to the tally. They drew 1-1 against Satania today. Victor Osimhen could not get on the scoring chart, but right now Osimhen is still leading the goal scoring chart for Napoli. 21 goals overall. Cavral 12 goals as well. Egypt 6 goals, and on the assist line, Kravia has assisted 10 times, and out of those 10, direct assist for Osimhen was 6. Zelensky has 6 assists as well. Olale, I'm going to come to you, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be rounding up the show with this. And this is about Christopher Gelta of PSG. I know we always talk about, and you're a big fan of this. We need to set the football situation right. We need to get guys that understand football. We need to do this. We need to do that. And you always make a reference to Manchester City, and I believe PSG too did it as well. They brought in people that understand football. During the era of Carlos Ancelotti, post Ancelotti as well, it was Leonardo that was in the realm of affairs. They got technical director that could help them. But for some strange reason, Christopher has not. We thought it was going to be at least comfortable in the French league. Nobody is expecting a coach of his caliber to win the Champions League just yet. And no disrespect to him, is from Nice, but we've not seen that be replicated for PSG. Across the years, they always win the French league comfortably. maybe 6 games to the end, 7 games to the end. But we're not seeing this season. And this is a coach that has been accused, allegedly, to have racially abused people in the past from Nice. Like, they are not good enough. And it does not, it has something against black players and Muslim players. Do you think this affected PSG? And why is the PSG project? Because for me, officially, I consider it a failure. It's been how many years now since Yen Jorud won, and I'm pretty sure I can't remember how long it was, but I'm pretty sure I was still the university then. So that's exactly more than 10 years. Yeah, more than 10 years. So for me, I'll declare it a failure officially.
The PSG project is actually a failure as it is now. A couple of things. Yes, they try to bring football, people who understand football. By the end of I think they eventually probably got it wrong with Leonardo. Leonardo ended up to be like a dictator on his own, who probably just does things the way he likes. I think the owners on their own part, unlike City, I think they tried to get themselves too much involved in the footballing side of the thing. And the third thing was I think players, rather than letting the player to see the reason why they have to join them, they set a bad precedent in terms of culture in that team. You could remember the Cavani or Neymar issue.
Yeah.
It was not addressed the way it should be addressed. Neymar became too popular for himself. I think they over-worship the players. I look at Mbappe. Mbappe got to PSG and became so arrogant. To even in the desperate move to retain him, they had to give him a lot of leverage. He can select this. He can decide who can be the coach. You don't do that for whatever reason. You don't do that. Probably were not patient enough with some of those coaches they had in the past. And like you said, the project is just complete failure. They've run that project the way it should never be run. Number one, they had a disadvantage of being in the French league, which means to attract talent there will be difficult. You have to probably add some other things, which is going to be money. But at the same time, I think Leonardo was not a good, what do you call it, director of football, whatever. There was. I think he did not leverage on the fact that the French league produces a lot of high quality talent. What you could have used PSG to do is, instead of when most of these talents are desperate to move to Spain, England, and
you could players like Chouameni, Camavinga,
them.
Olomouani.
You understand? I think that would have been the bedrock of building a very good squad. In that particular, Ajax built a team that was able to conquer Europe because they could retain majority of their staff for a couple of years until 1996, when all of them started moving all around. You could do that. You could have signed 1 or 2, 3 players, but signing the stars are not. In Miami, it signed LeBron James. LeBron James tried to dictate to Patriali about Eric Spoelstra, but Patriali made him realize that's your head coach and you have to listen to him.
That's your head coach.
And that is the problem. They give those players too much power, and the environment becomes too toxic that the coaches couldn't have any control over it. And like you said, it's a failure, and I don't see it. It's just a matter of the moment Neymar, Mbappe leaves. I think that's the end of the project.
That's the end of the project, exactly. That will be the end of the project. Of course, before I go on the show, I want to come to you for the final one. I see Olomouani, and the only thing that comes to my mind was that last goal that he lost against Martinez. That's the only thing that comes to my mind. But he has been doing wonderfully well at Frankfurt right now. He's been touted to move to Bayern Munich to be the new guy that Mane could not be for them. They are planning on shipping out Mane. Don't forget, over the course of the weekend, Borussia Dortmund drew 1-1. So Bayern Munich are back on top of the league. So probably they will win the league if Thomas Tuchel allow them to win the league. So basically, do you see Kolomwani surviving and become a huge guy if he eventually moves to Bayern Munich? Frankfurt are saying they don't want to release him. This is a guy that has double figure both for assists and in terms of goals in the German league right now.
Yeah, let me start with your first what was it called? A reflection. The moment you mentioned his name, the first thing that came to my mind was that was that chance to the World Cup, to be sincere. So when you mentioned it, I think a lot of French fans and even nationals will remember Mwani for that for a long time. But hopefully he goes to another World Cup and score a very vital goal to erase that particular scenario. I really pray for him. He does that because, to be sincere, his name is synonymous to that miss. Let me just move on to your question. I think, to be sincere, I think the guy is a very good attacker and is going to do well in the Bayern Munich team. I noticed that in his game, he can actually link play very well and he can score goals. So you will not be really surprised with the double figures he's racking up in goals and assists because of because of the type of play. You talked about Mane, Bayern Munich looking towards Mane to replace Lewandowski. I think that was a total mistake. Mismatched. And I still don't understand how Bayern Munich made that wrong decision, because for us, we look at the Bayern team and the Bayern hierarchy. Most times, if they make 10 decisions, most times 9 is correct in terms of building up the player and also in terms of making key signings. That was quite a big surprise. So for me, I think Kolomwani suits the Bayern Munich play better than using Mane to play a first 9 or even to play a first 9. So it will probably just suit that team perfectly. Frankfurt saying that they don't want to sell or release at the moment we all know Bayern Munich comes, any player will go. So maybe they just want to raise the price a little bit.
All right, perfect.
Mane will be playing for Bayern next season if Bayern wants to sign him.
All right, perfect. That's the end, and that's the wrap for the show. My name is Siladeji Adebowale. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for staying tuned with us, and for everybody watching us, for everybody that liked, for everybody that commented. We say a big thank you to you. And if you like the show, please like, share, and subscribe. Till see you again next week. This is New Sisters of Sport. Bye, guys.